welcome in, Guardians. It is season 21, and with a new season means a new seasonal 6-player activity inside of Destiny 2. In this season, Season of the Deep, the new activity is called Salvage. So what we are going to do today is talk about the main mechanics of Salvage, how best to complete each of the various tasks inside of the activity, and of course, my own personal suggestions on what to bring to the fight. Let's go ahead and dig in. Similar to Season of the Plunder, the main structure of this activity is to go from room to room completing activities all the way up until you get to the boss room. Now these rooms will be randomized based on when you enter into the activity. Based on the multiple runs I've done so far, the first room you'll be in is either going to be outside of the facility or inside of the facility. Regardless of where your adventure begins, you'll be asked to complete a series of jobs before being able to progress further into the activity. So far, it does seem that it will be randomized each time you load into the activity, but here are the 4 basic types of activities you will encounter. The first up is site reliability. The main goal here is to repair the power relays. You do this by clearing out the area, and as you clear out the area, there will be enemies that spawn with a red icon above their heads. These enemies will be carrying a giant wrench that you will then be able to pick up and then take over to the designated station to be able to then repair the power relay. This activity requires a bit of coordination. There will be enemies spawning from all corners of the area, so make sure that your team is spread out and being able to take down all the enemies as fast as possible. The quicker that you kill the enemies, the quicker that the enemies holding the wrenches that you need to make the repairs will spawn. You'll be able to kill them and then progress everything forward. And then it's simply rinse and repeat until all of the power relays have been restored. You'll want to make sure that you're sporting a really solid add clear build here. As you can see, I'm rocking my Rick's Rifts arc build. If you know, you know, where I'm constantly being able to not only proc ionic traces, but also proc arc souls that help my team. But any setup that's going to help clear out enemies fast, regardless of what subclass you're on, is definitely going to be the play here. Next up is site security. Site security is very similar in the fact that you want to have an add clear build on, and the main priority here is to protect the 3 separate salvage drops until they can be transmitted out. Splitting up to 3 teams of 2 is very advisable here, as the main mechanic is that if the enemies get too close to the salvage, they will then begin capturing the salvage, and any amount of progress that the enemy makes towards capturing each of the spots will not be able to be regained. So once the enemies have complete control of any of the areas, it's basically game over. There's no mini bosses or bosses here, so feel free to let loose on your heavy ammo as well as your supers. The faster you're clearing out enemies and keeping them from overrunning you, the better time you'll have. You'll continue to play keep away with the enemy until the objective is complete. Next up is Ordinance Disposal. This one again is very straightforward. All you need to do is make your way around the arena as fast as you can, disposing of all the bombs. The catch here is that multiple bombs will be spawning at the same time, so it is in your best interest to split up and make sure you're not all bunched up in the same area. If your team is too close together, you won't be able to make it to all the bombs in time, and therefore you'll fail the activity. Whether you want to split up in 3 teams of 2, or you want to have 4 bomb runners and 2 add clear, whatever setup makes most sense for your team, make it work. As you get closer to completing this activity, higher health enemies will come out, including yellow bars. Now because it's so early in the season and we still have to level up our artifact, we're not as strong as we could be. So make sure you're playing your life. If you're a warlock, make sure you're popping those rifts. If you're a hunter, going invis, or maybe using an assassin's cowl build, titans, punch things, whatever you need to do to make sure that you and your teammates are staying alive. Simply rinse and repeat until all bombs have been defused. Next up is engineering. Similar to the site reliability activity, your main goal here is to add clear. So again, make sure you have a solid add clear build on, something that's going to help the teammates. Roaming supers are going to be especially helpful here, especially with the new buff that came with Season 21. And as you kill enemies, fuses will appear. You run to these fuses, make sure your team is split up well, grab the fuses, take them to the crane, fix the crane. In my runs, it looked like it consistently took 2 fuses to repair each crane. So my suggested setup would be 3 teams of 2 once again to be able to handle the amount of both ad clear as well as making sure you get the fuses in time. After you've completed 3 of the 4 activities in whatever order the game gives them to you, you will then be asked to locate the disruption. After a quick Gambit style transmat effect, you will then be transported undersea, where you'll have to find the air bubbles and move forward. Pretty straightforward. Which is the new Under the Sea mechanic coming with Season of the Deep. After a short trip underwater, you will then be at the boss room. After your team is rallied, you will then proceed to the first of 2 phases of this boss fight. The first phase is to defeat the Rune Keepers. The Rune Keepers are shielded yellow bar enemies that can only have their shield taken down if you have the Heinous Right buff. You get the Heinous Right buff by playing a simple game of match the symbol to the symbol, where you will look at the symbol in the middle and then go to the corresponding plate to then be able to get the buff. Currently, it's kind of a game of jump around and find where the plate is, but eventually I'm sure someone in the community will develop a graphic that will show where each plate location is. The trick here is that you only need to be on the plate to take down the shield. And once you've used the buff to take the shield down from the enemy, you can free for all kill all of the Rune Keepers as fast as you can. From the moment your team steps on the plate, you have 34 seconds to kill all 4 of the Rune Keepers. In most of the runs I did, this was pretty easy to achieve in one sitting. If for some reason your team is struggling, no worries, the timer will reset, a new symbol will appear, and then you'll just have to go to the plate corresponding with the new symbol to again get the Heinous Right buff, take down the shield, damage, kill all the Rune Keepers. Survivability is key here, but I also found a lot of success when we were in teams that were purely DPS. Prioritizing supers and heavy weapons to quickly take out the Rune Keepers felt like the best way to stay alive and stay safe. But if your team wants to play a little bit more passively, which there's nothing wrong with that, you can go more of a strat where you're playing with bubbles, you're playing with things that are going to focus more so on keeping you alive versus doing a lot of damage. Whichever path you choose, take out the Rune Keepers and then keep it moving. After that, it's time to wrap things up and take out the boss. The same mechanic works here. Look in the middle, find the symbol, go to the plate with the matching symbol, use the Heinous Right buff to take out the boss's shield, and then free for all with damage. If your team is confident and you have the damage, after you take out the boss's shield, move closer and pump as much damage as you can into the boss to get it over with quickly. If you would like to play a little bit more passively, you can use rifts, barricades, or any other type of safety buff to stay on the plate and then continue doing damage. Similar to Rune Keepers, if you do not take the boss out in the allotted time, you will then have to reset, go to the new symbol, take out another shield, and then continue to do damage. And there you have it. You've conquered the new 6-person activity Salvage. If you found this guide to be helpful, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to hang out with the Cloud Commune, our lovable community that we have here, feel free to catch us live streaming here on YouTube as well as on Twitch, where we do PvE helps, we do community days, we help out new lights, all types of things where the main focus is just having fun in game and getting a chance to meet new people. That's all I have for now, and as usual, I'm looking forward to seeing you all Starside. Peace.